Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to the beginning of a week, and not just the beginning of another week, it's the beginning of another story. And we are going to look at Elvis Presley. I've got to thank my mate Lee for this because he is a huge Elvis Presley fan. He's sort of cruised over what I've put together, and just to make sure I've got it reasonably accurate. So, Elvis Aaron Presley, born on the 8th of January 1935, and sadly left us on the 16th of August 1977. I remember that day. Elvis is known as the King of Rock and Roll. He is regarded one of the most significant culture figures of the 20th century. He was born in Tupelo in Mississippi, and he began his recording career in 1954 at Sun Records with Sam Phillips, with of course Scotty Moore on the guitars and Bill Black on the bass. In 55, DJ Fontana joined them, and the rest is history. I mean, Colonel Tom Parker was his manager. I think but between you and me and the gatepost, I think he sort of abused his position, but that's another story. He could never come to the UK because of Colonel Tom's status. Anyway, we're going to start in the 1950s, of course, and apart from all his singles he did release 3 albums. So we'll have a look at those 3 albums today. So, coming in at number 3 is the 3rd album of the 1950s, and it was released October the 15th, 1957, and it's Elvis Christmas album, and it was also reissued as It's Christmas Time. So on here, Elvis does the lead vocals, acoustic and rhythm guitar, Scotty Moore on the electric guitar, Bill Black on the bass, DJ Fontana on the drums, and the Jordanaires doing the singing. That is Gordon. We've got Gordon Stoker, Hoyt Hawkins, Neil Matthews, and Hugh Jarrett. So this is basically a Christmas album. So we have Santa Claus is Back in Town. Interesting track. I love the sort of the barber shop quartet on this. It's got a little bit of a bluesy feel to it, but it's got that Christmas feel as well. Then he does a really good version of Irving Berlin's White Christmas. Not as good as Bing Crosby's, but it's pretty decent. Here Comes Santa Claus, very Christmassy song. Don't mind that one. I'll Be Home for Christmas has been so many versions of this. This is one of the best versions. And then we have a classic, Blue Christmas. I love the vocals on this. And then Mud did this, didn't they, in the 70s. It's a great Christmas song. Santa Bring My Baby Back to Me. Rock and roll Christmassy song. It's not too bad. Then we have a sort of additional carol, O Little Town of Bethlehem. Now, Elvis has always been good at singing this gospel stuff because that's where he sort of learned his music, of course. It's not a bad version. Silent Night. It's my favourite carol, and I think he does a cracking version of it. There'll Be Peace in the Valley for me, from the Peace in the Valley. It's as good as a rock and roll gospel-y type song, really good. I Believe, which is from the Peace in the Valley. This is a great version of this Frankie Lane song. Certainly better than that awful Robson and Jerome thing. Yeah. Take My Hand, Precious Lord. It's a nice little song. Hymn, gospel song, and it's a great vocal. So this still remains one of the best Christmas albums ever made. I think it's got some lovely tones on it. I always put this on at Christmas, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, coming in at number 2 from 1956, the 2nd album, Elvis. It's also known as Elvis number 2. And on here, of course, we've got Elvis Presley, we've got Scotty Moore, we've got Gordon Stoker on the piano, Bill Black on the double bass, G. Day Fontana, The Jordanaires of Gordon Stoker, Hoyt Hawkins and Neil Matthews and Hugh Jarrett. So the first track, excuse me, is a cover of Little Richard's Rip It Up. I love DJ Fontana's drumming at the beginning of this. It's a great version of this song. Love Me, a lovely classic song written by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. Elvis played this song right up until his death on stage. It's a great song and one of my favourite songs of the early period of Elvis's career. Then we have When My Blue Moon Turns to Gold Again. This is a song that was first sung by Willie Walker and Gene Sutherland back in 1941. It's certainly better than the original version. I think Elvis does a great version of that. Good song. Then we have another Little Richard number, Long Tall Sally. It's good, but I don't think it's got the same zing as Little Richard's. But it's still a very good version of it. First in Line comes next. The vocal on this is probably one of the worst vocals of this period. It sounds like they're singing in the bath. Not the best song on the album. Paralysed, love this. The double bass on this is terrific. From Bill Black. I love the double bass in Rockabilly. Gives it so much depth. Then there's an old song, an old blues song that Arthur Crudup did in 1946. So Glad You're With Mine. Great blues song. Rock and rolled it a little bit, and it's very good. Old Shep. Now, you think I'm daft, but I can't listen to this song. I think it's a little bit close to home these days. I think a lot of you know why I can't listen to the words. Yeah, it sort of fills me up a little bit. I don't like talking about it. It's something that I've got to deal with at some stage, but we'll move on. Ready Teddy as another Little Richard song. I think this is the best of his Little Richard covers on here. Great track. Anywhere, Any Place is Paradise. Sounds like he's singing in the bath again. I love the piano and the double bass. I don't know what they've done with Elvis's vocals on that. Then we have a track called How's the World Treating You, which is a song that was done in 1952 by the Beaver Valley Sweethearts. It's a little bit different, but what makes this are the Jordanaires. Their backing vocals are really good on this, and it's a bluesy song. This is How Do You Think I Feel, which is a Red Solvine number from 1954. This is better than Red Solvine's. It's got a little bit of pedal guitar on, and it's a little bit upbeat. It's a really good album. There's some interesting recording techniques on here from the 50s, but there's some great songs on here, some great covers. It's a very solid album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. But the number one is his debut album, Elvis Presley, released in the UK as Elvis Presley Rock and Roll. It came out in 1956. Elvis, Scotty Moore, and playing also on here is the great guitarist Chet Atkins, who plays acoustic guitar on I'm Counting You and Money Honey. Floyd Kramer is on the piano, shorty long piano. Bill Black on the bass, and of course DJ Fontana. Johnny Bonero on drums on Trying to Get You. Gordon Stoker, Ben Spear, Brock Spear backing vocals. Doug Poindexter on percussion. Sam Phillips is on here as well, the producer. So the first track is a cover of Carl Perkins's Blued Suede Shoes. I prefer Elvis's version of Blue Suede Shoes to Carl Perkins. I think it's got a little bit more zing in it. Then we've got I'm Counting on You, which is a nice slow song written by Dom Robinson. It's got some lovely little bit of guitar work here from Chet Atkins. It's an excellent track. I Got a Woman, recorded by Ray Charles originally, but in 54, but Elvis does a really good version. I think both versions of this song is great. One-Sided Love Affair. I love the bass on this. It's got that boom sort of feel to it. Great little track. I Love You Because. This was recorded by Leon Pine in 1949. It's been covered by lots of people, including Jim Reeves. I think Jim Reeves did the best version of this, closely followed by Elvis. Just because. Written by Sidney Shelton, and it was written around about 1929 and recorded by the Shelton brothers in the 30s. Certainly a lot better version than that. I don't know, it's not the best version, but Elvis is the thing. Then we have a bit of Tutti Frutti. I think this is just a little bit the same as Little Richards, which is a good thing. It's not too bad at all. Trying to get to you. This is an old song recorded by a vocal group called the Eagles, nothing to do with Hotel California Eagles, released mid-54, and Elvis recorded this in 55. I like this. It's a really good song. But my favourite track on this one is I'm Gonna Sit Right Down and Cry Over You, written in 1953 by Joe Thomas and Howard Briggs, and recorded by Roy Hamilton. But this is a far better version. It's got a little more grit into it. I'll Never Let You Go, Little Darling, written by Jimmy Wakely, and I like the guitar on this. Blue Moon, it's a little bit different than the original. This is a laid-back version, and I do like it. Money Honey, written by Jesse Stone, released in 1953 as their first single. I think this is a better version of it. It's a really good song to end the album. Lots of covers on here, of course, but that was the thing. It's an iconic album. The start of the rock and roll thing for America, I think, and I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay then, next week we'll move on to the 60s. Just to let you know, we're going to keep the soundtracks separate from these ordinary albums as well. 60s, it was a different sort of period. He'd been in the army, come out and invented himself. So we'll do that next week. Okay, coming up next is a perfect side, and today we've got probably one of the best Wings albums to be released, and that is, of course, Band on the Run. So join me for that later. Bye for now.